We're here.
Hello and welcome to another edition of 5-Star Broadcast. I'm Andy Peck.
And I'm Angelo Parenti.
And this episode we're going to devote entirely to the breaking news that came on Wednesday of this past week with CM Punk apparently walking out of the WWE. There's reports that he was just so frustrated with his direction, the way he's going into WrestleMania, taking on Triple H, not being in the main event for the world title, and having part-time guys 3 years in a row now come in and take the main event spot. You have The Rock the past 2 years, and now seemingly Batista coming in, and he's going to be in the world title picture against what appears to be Randy Orton. So he's just pissed off and apparently left.
Yeah, I mean, it really sucks because we're both huge Punk fans. I mean, I would literally just hope I would open up Twitter or something and see that, oh, he's coming back, or but it's just weird because I mean, he hasn't said anything. WWE hasn't said anything. I mean, they have removed him from a lot of stuff. They removed him from WrestleMania signings, live events. But I mean, they just posted him on their website, right, about power rankings. Yeah. And they promoted his new hat and I think he just had a new comic book. I don't know if they said anything about that. Yeah. But it's just, I don't think it's a work. But I think if they get him back, they're gonna make it. Maybe they could make it seem like it was.
That's kind of how I'm feeling right now. I'm thinking it's legit, but they have the chance to spin it into a storyline, kind of like what they did for the last time CM Punk was walking out of the company, which produced some of the best TV we've seen. So I mean, this might not be a bad thing. We might see Punk gone from TV for a little bit. He might not be at WrestleMania, which sucks, but at the same time we might see something even bigger come from this. So I'm just hoping we haven't seen the last of CM Punk in WWE.
Yeah, excuse me. We know. I heard too. At next NXT tapings, they took signs away. They tried to get fans to stop cheering CM Punk. I just hope tomorrow night at Raw, all I hear is CM Punk chants.
Yeah, and I think you will. If you follow WWE on Instagram, if you look anytime they post a picture related to anything at all you see is posts about CM Punk and hashtags, we want CM Punk, we want Punk, and all this CM Punk talk. And I think it's gotten to not only just the hardcore internet fans, but everybody now has heard about this and CM Punk leaving because TMZ broke that story, which is crazy to think.
And I think that's the thing, WWE loves being in that type of, TMZ, mainstream media, where if Punk comes back, which, I mean, that's the thing, it feels so weird talking about this because, who are we to know what's going on? Nobody knows except pretty much WWE and CM Punk.
Yeah, and I mean, even with WWE, I've read reports of some of the guys in the locker room thinking that it could be a work that just nobody knows about except for, a handful of people like Vince and somebody else and CM Punk, that they did this and it's going to be a big storyline that they're just keeping super quiet. And if they do that, that would be incredible. That would be one of the biggest things we've seen in a while.
Yeah, if CM Punk leaves, I don't see him not ever coming back. I don't think he's going to go out that way. Hopefully they're not on bad terms where it wouldn't be a shitty situation if he wanted to come back. But I mean, you can't blame the guy if he's burnt out and hurting, If he wants a break and he needs it, it's just, I don't know if he did it the right way. Especially, I heard he left on Raw before they were about to start.
Yeah, he left early in the day from what reports are saying. And, I mean, it sucks that he did it, but guys in the past, well, Steve Austin most notably, he did it, and he still had a good relationship with WWE after. And CM Punk said in an interview with that MMA guy, that him and Vince are close. They're friends. They text each other a lot. So I don't think that there's going to be a huge issue with Punk returning if he decides to. I think they'll kind of, you know, hear each other out, you know, go back and forth with, you know, some bargaining stuff and just seeing if they could come to some sort of agreement, and hopefully they do.
Yeah, and it's like CM Punk has brought up a lot of things in that interview that he was unhappy with, like the creative direction, this whole, I mean, for us, the network is a dream come true, but like, that's the thing. People are always like, you know, CM Punk is leaving before the biggest payday of the year at WrestleMania, but they're not going to get paid like they do all the time, it seems, because of the network.
They're not sure, because, yeah, there's a different method to buying this, and I mean, it's cool that WWE is doing the network for everybody and giving us a chance to, you know, get WrestleMania for essentially $10. But how does that affect the wrestlers' payouts? CM Punk alluded to that in that MMA interview that he did, and you know, he wasn't sure, and he just kind of seemed indifferent to it. He's just like, I don't know how I'm getting paid, you know? So he didn't know if it was a good thing. He said, for a fan, it's awesome, like Ange said, but for wrestlers, who knows? Is WrestleMania the best place to start to give that network away? Yeah. Probably not.
I mean, I'm just saying too, like, I know I brought up stuff before where Andy Peck was like, no, just don't say anything, but I would, even if they were like, every single pay-per-view is included except WrestleMania, I get it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, WrestleMania is more if you order for satellite than the other pay-per-views anyway. But I personally, like, over time, I could just tell CM Punk was different. Like, he just didn't seem like he was that guy we remember just cutting those promos and, you know, just, I mean, he still puts on good matches, but he just didn't seem like he, I don't want to say he didn't care, but he admitted that he just went in, did what they tell him, and left, you know?
Yeah, he was going through the motions, I mean, and you can't really blame him after so long of, you know, working, and, I mean, he was the champ for a long time, so people might give him some shit, like being like, oh, you just came out of a championship program, but the thing was, he lost it to a guy that was returning just for WrestleMania. So I think that's where he, you know, the beef comes in, and I think he'd be fine with, you know, John Cena or, you know, Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan main eventing WrestleMania. I think he would be okay with that because both guys have been there all year and have put in their time and effort, but you have Batista going into a main event, he returned at Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, and is now, you know, pushed right into that main event picture, and I don't think it's something that a lot of the guys in the backstage are happy about. I know us as fans aren't happy about it, so.
And another thing too is like, maybe this is just CM Punk being really smart because he knows his contract's gonna end in July, and with the whole not being sure about how you're gonna get paid with the network, you know, maybe he's doing this to try to renegotiate some things.
Well, yeah, he said in that MMA interview that nobody's reached out to him yet and talk. The person that was interviewing, I forget his name, he asked, he's like, has anybody reached out to you yet? And Punk said no. Like he said, normally they do at this point, but he hasn't heard anything. So I don't know if it was just people assumed that CM Punk, within the company, people assumed that CM Punk was going to resign, and then, you know, that just added to his frustration or what, but...
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, just keep moving on with it. Like we said, nobody really knows what's going on except, you know, WWE and CM Punk, I guess, but, so we don't want to say stuff, you know, that's not, we're not sure of.
Yeah, it's all hearsay. I mean,
but, you brought up some cool things today about, you know, he has some dates coming up that are pretty important. So hopefully we'll find out something soon.
Yeah, he's doing a Comedy Central thing at some point, and people are kind of assuming, let me just see if I can find that, people are saying, you know, he might be asked that question there.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on with him.
I mean, Austin was just on Arsenio Hall and he was asked the question.
Yeah, so this is in the media, like, people know about this, and it might look bad for WWE if they don't turn this around quick. And if it is a storyline, it'll be huge for them at the end. So it's extremely difficult to say what is going on right now.
There's so many pros and cons. I mean, if CM Punk is pissed about the creative direction, obviously WWE is trying to fix it now because of this. I think they realize their mistakes. They realize how they need to capitalize on Daniel Bryan. So maybe even CM Punk doing this is gonna be, you know, it's like we relate to him. Like, he thinks how the fans think, and he sees the shitty direction that they're going in. So maybe this could help them, you know, finally give them that kick in the ass that they need to be like, okay, we need to start booking things a little better, and, you know, not book them an hour before Raw.
Yeah, and hopefully that does come. I mean, he's gone through this before in the past, which might be why this time he just said screw it and left, because he complained about the very things he's basically still complaining about, like, you know, guys returning, guys not getting a push when they should be, you know, guys like Ziggler that are, you know, busting their ass every night and not doing anything company-wise, you know, not being in the main event, not being on WrestleMania and things like that. So I think, you know, he may have just gotten pissed off and left. But as you were talking about with that date, February 12th, CM Punk has a Comedy Central show that he's appearing on, midnight. I'm not sure what that is, but apparently he'll be appearing on that, so I'm gonna guess that he's gonna get hit up with some questions about that.
I'm thinking that's like 2 weeks away, so they need to figure something out before then, you know? Hopefully we'll hear some more this week, like, you know, facts, where it's not just other wrestling news sites just posting what they hear.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how WWE handles this on Monday.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
do they address it? If they do, maybe it, I don't know, maybe it's a like, storyline then?
It's just like, do they even know what's going on so that they know what to address?
Yeah.
Know? It seems like they're trying to figure out between CM Punk, like, do they say he left, or did he even completely leave, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they could even write it off if they wanted to, that he was injured, with Kane choke slamming him through the table to end the Royal Rumble, which was another thing that I wanted to bring up in our Royal Rumble thing. That was such a shitty way for CM Punk getting eliminated by being pulled over the rope by Kane, who hung out by you know, the announcer's table, probably because he came out too early, and then gets, I mean, chokeslam spot through the announcer's table. That was cool, but I didn't think you were allowed to be eliminated by somebody that was previously eliminated. Hasn't that happened in the past, and they said that the person was still able to be in?
I don't know. I was just bummed because I was picked CM Punk and Kane cost me $100.
Yeah, we did a Royal Rumble drawing, and Ange ended up with #1, so he got CM Punk.
But, you know, we'll have to just watch at the days ahead to see what happens with CM Punk. I think we could maybe answer a question or two we have real quick.
Yeah, let's take a look. We got a question from Austin. He wants to know over on Facebook, if Daniel Bryan were to face Undertaker at WrestleMania, do you think he should be the one to end the streak?
No.
Yeah, absolutely not. I don't want anybody to end the streak, to be honest. I think it's cool that, you know, Undertaker has this special thing, and if it ends with him, you know, hopefully at an even number, because I like numbers like 20 and 25 and stuff like that, so hopefully he goes until 25-0 and ends it at that. But I don't want to see anybody win.
Or just retires.
Yeah.
And doesn't lose.
Yeah.
But
so, no, nobody should beat him.
No. And then we have another question.
Yeah, this is from Melissa on Twitter. She wants to know, have you noticed WWE hasn't announced who will induct the class of 2014 inductees on air? And if you could induct anyone, who would it be?
Do they announce the inductees?
They normally do, but I think it's closer to the event. I know CM Punk, tying back into him, he wanted to induct the Ultimate Warrior, so maybe if him leaving was part of, or isn't part of a storyline, they could use that as a bargaining tool. Be like, here, if you come back, we'll give you this, 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 and you can induct Ultimate Warrior into the Hall of Fame. But if I was to induct somebody, at this point, somebody that hasn't been inducted yet, that could be Undertaker.
Yeah, that. But what if it was for this Hall of Fame? You think you would go in for Hall of Fame of 2014?
No, we're talking this year. If we're talking this year, I'd induct the Ultimate Warrior, because that would be really
But is
cool.
there any that you could predict that you...
that haven't been inducted yet?
Macho Man.
Yeah, Macho Man.
Macho Man, Paul Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But I think Macho Man is pretty good.
Yeah, he could be a good bet for this year. Maybe Lita, too.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd be cool with Lita being in.
They need a woman in there, huh?
Yeah.
They might do. Did they? Mae Young's in there, right?
Yeah. Her and Moolah and Trish Stratus went in last year.
Alright, but we're out of time and we're out of here.
See ya.